Welcome to this lecture of Digital Electronics AI 207. In this lecture, we will discuss about the various logic families. So, the topics which we will discuss is first we will discuss the introduction, that what are the logic families, and then we will discuss about the various characteristics of the logic families, the important characteristics. We are not going to discuss all the characteristics, but some of the important characteristics and the mathematical formulas related to those characteristics, how to calculate those what are those calculators and how to calculate those characteristics. Then later on we will study some of the logic families, well-known logic families like the resistor transistor logic family, RTL, then the diode transistor logic family, which is called as DTL, then transistor logic family, which is called as TTL, then emitter coupled logic, and CMOS, that is complementary metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor logic family. So one by one we will discuss them. So let's say in the introduction, if we say that whatever digital circuits we have studied so far, okay, these digital circuits are made up of basic gates or the universal gates. So you can implement any Boolean expression with the help of digital gates. Okay, so the logic gates. So any circuit which is implemented with the help of logic gates and it is integrated on a very small area, so then it is called integrated circuit. And if it is a digital, then it is called a digital integrated circuits. So nowadays this various integrated circuits are available with, you fabricate this with some electrical and electronic components such as resistors, diodes, bipolar transistors, MOSFETs or CMOS. So all these digital systems made from a particular component. So what we do is sometimes we use multiple components, okay, to realize a Boolean expression, any gate or any Boolean expression, or sometimes we use a single component, okay, along with the resistors. So resistors, capacitors, inductors, so everything we try to realize with the help of a certain component only. If this is possible, then we call it a certain type of logic family. If we use multiple components, then we give it name accordingly. So let's say the examples are diode transistor logic family. So in the diode transistor logic family, we use basically 2-3 components. So diodes are used and transistors are used. Okay? Sometimes resistances are also used. And then all the basic gates like NAND gate, NOR gate, universal gates like NAND gate and NOR gates, along with the basic gates and or not, decoder. So whatever circuit we have studied so far, then in that logic family is implemented with diode transistor logic. So that family is called as the diode transistor logic family. So here in this unit, basically what we are going to see is that up till now we have seen various gates only. So now in this unit we are going to see that what is inside those gates and how those gates are realized. Let's suppose if I say that it is an AND gate, so what is inside an AND gate? Whether this AND gate is realized with the help of transistors only, whether this AND gate or the NAND gate, we can talk in more general way in form of universal gates. So if you are able to implement any universal gate, then obviously we can implement any gate with the help of that universal gate. So let's suppose I want to realize a NAND gate in a certain logic family. Let's say that logic family is DTL. So that NAND gate will be realized with the help of diodes, transistor, a combination of diodes, transistors and resistors. So then it is called a DTL family. If it is realized with the help of all transistors and resistances, then it is called TTL family, okay, transistor logic family, and similarly the others. So this logic families have certain compatible logic levels and the voltage levels, okay, and the power supply voltage levels which should be applied to it. So it is not like you take a logic family and you apply any voltages to it. So there are specified voltages, only those voltages can be applied to that logic family. If you apply invalid voltages, either the logic family or that particular IC will not respond to your applied inputs, or it may burn out. So anything may happen. Okay? So we should limit ourselves in those defined range only. So this circuits in future can be used to implement various large scale circuits also, like VLSI circuits, okay, in which by the help of VLSI we are able to make microprocessors or big processors like your Pentium processors, or nowadays it is quad core processors, or the whichever type of processors you call it, core i7, core i3, okay. So i3, i5, i7, so whichever type of processors, these are all made up by VLSI circuits. And this VLSI, with the help of VLSI technology, and with when you call them VLSI circuits, because this VLSI circuits are very small, uh, the components inside these VLSI circuits are very small, so special techniques are used to make this. But the point is that all those components are either in one of the logic family, they fall in one of the logic family. Either you realize the all the circuits with the help of DTL or RTL, TTL, okay, like that. Nowadays the logic family which is mostly used to realize all your logic processors, whether it is the processor of your laptop or the desktop or your mobiles or any other digital device you use. So that those devices, the processors use CMOS logic family. So the basic logic family which we use to realize all these circuits nowadays is CMOS logic family. So we'll study this logic families, the development of these logic families, and from the beginning 1960 onwards, how the development took place and what are the initial logic families, and then later on what are the advanced logic families. So up till the current scenario, CMOS logic family will go up to that. And in between we'll also discuss that what are the various problems which come in a particular logic family and how to overcome it, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of each and the each and every logic family, whatever we are going to discuss. We are not going to discuss all the logic families exhaustively, but we are going to discuss some of the important logic families. And the important thing is that every logic families have some advantages and disadvantages, and then they are came by the later technologies. So our aim here is to understand the basic operation in a logic family, okay. So how that basic understanding we can develop of a logic family. So once we are able to understand it, then we know that what is inside an integrated circuit, okay, and how this AND gates or whatever gate you talk about or whatever Boolean expression you talk about are realized with the help of transistors, okay, transistors or the electronic components in general, I should say, okay. So this is what I mean. So let's start with the various let's first see that what are the logic families which we are going to see. So we are going to see the RTL logic family, which is resistor transistor logic, then DTL, okay. So these are the sub logic families under this. So DTL there are like direct coupled transistor logic, then resistor capacitor transistor logic. We are not going to see them in detail, but we are going to see them in general, the RTL, DTL, TTL, ECL, and there is another integrated injection logic also, PMOS logic, NMOS logic, and finally the CMOS logic. So now this is the logic which is used. So we started somewhere from here, and now in 1960 RTL was the dominant logic family, okay, and now CMOS is the logic family, is the dominant logic family. So there was a development, okay, so towards the CMOS, right from the DTL or the RTL you can say. So before moving on to the logic families, actual logic families, so we'll first discuss the various characteristics which signifies any logic family, and based on that we can say that a particular logic family is better than or poorer than the other logic family. So to compare various logic families, we require some characteristics or some parameters. So what are those parameters? So there is an important parameter which is called as Finin. So Finin of a logic family is the number of input gates, okay, inputs that the gate can handle, okay. So if you are using let's say you are realizing a NAND gate with the help of a logic family, so similar logic family, okay, same type of NAND gates or same type of gates, how many number of same gates can be applied to the input, okay, can be applied on the input of a gate. So that capacity is called the Finin of that logic family. So our aim is to apply, our aim should be to apply as many number of inputs as possible. But it is not like that we can apply any number of inputs. There is limitation on the because of the current driving capabilities of one circuit, okay, or one gate. So if you connect multiple gates which do not satisfy your Fanon criteria, then you may overload the circuit or you may not able to properly drive the circuit. Okay, so the Fanon is the number of inputs in similar inputs, I should say the number of similar inputs that the gates can handle, okay, without disturbing the its output level. So that is called its Fanon. Then you define the other term as the Fanout. So we'll discuss them, some of them in detail. So first let me give you a small definition of all these terminologies, and then later on we will see them in detail. So the Fanout is the number of, so whichever gate you are using, so that gate, to that gate, how many similar gates you can connect on to the output of that gate. Okay, so if you are using an AND gate, so how many other AND gates in the same logic family you can connect on the output of that AND gate. Okay, or if you are using a NAND gate, then how many number of similar non-NAND gates you can connect to the output of that NAND gate. So that is called its Fanout. So as many number of similar NAND gates you can connect, or similar number of gates you can connect, then that is called the Fanout of that logic family. Then you define the noise immunity for a logic family. So noise immunity is the ability of the logic circuit to tolerate various disturbances on the input side. So if there is like some variations on the input side, then also the output level should not change. So if a certain circuit have this capability, then that circuit is called as having the noise immunity. So from our common sense or from logic, we can understand that that noise margin or that noise immunity should be as high as possible. Okay, and related to this noise immunity, there is a term which is called as noise margin. So noise margin is when we measure this noise immunity. So when we define this noise immunity in voltage terms, then it is called noise margin. Okay, so noise immunity is nothing but the quantitative measure of your noise immunity is called your noise margin, right? Then the other terminologies are your propagation delay. So propagation delay, in the last lecture also this propagation delay came in our notice. So the propagation delay of any circuit, here in this case we will talk about the gates, but it can be of the any circuit. So the propagation delay of any gate is the average transition delay time for a signal to propagate from input to output. Okay, so it is not like why I am talking about the average, because you take it on multiple iterations you do, and you take the rise time and the fall time both. Okay, and then you take the average of that. So that propagation delay, okay, during the rise and the fall. So overall average, when you find it and you calculate it, so that propagation delay, so whatever time the gate takes, okay, to the signal to propagate from input to output, so that much time is called your propagation delay. Okay, then the threshold voltage. So you see here basically what is happening whenever we talk about the digital gates. So they are all digital circuits, so they operate on 0 and 1 level. So whenever a circuit is transiting from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0, so there is in between a voltage, okay, which can be treated as an intermediate voltage, and above which we can treat it as logic 1, and below which can be, above which, if the input voltage is above that voltage, then the circuit will operate as like high, or if it is below that, then it can operate as low. Okay, so that voltage is called as threshold voltage. So threshold voltage have multiple definitions, so I am just giving you the introductory sort of thing. So the voltage at which the circuit changes its state from one state to another state. Okay, so that is called its threshold voltage. Then there is like operating speed. So it is the maximum speed at which the circuit can operate, and you know that this depends somehow on your propagation delay as well. Okay, so operating speed of the circuit is related to propagation delay, maximum operating speed. So the actual operating speed on which your circuit operates is always less than the maximum operating speed, and we should be careful about the propagation delay. So in the last lecture we found that how to determine the maximum frequency of the maximum operating frequency of the circuit. Then one more important parameter which is used to characterize a logic family, and that is called its power dissipation. So the power dissipation is nothing but the power required to operate that circuit. Okay, so nowadays you can see that most of our devices are battery operated devices. So one of the requirement is that the power dissipation of the whatever, in whichever circuit you are using. Let's say if you are using a circuit for your mobile or for any battery operated device, then the circuit should consume as less power as possible. Okay, so power dissipation should be as minimum as possible, because it need to be operated on battery, and if it consumes a lot of power, then energy, obviously it is going to consume a high energy, and if it consumes high energy, then your battery is going to drain out very quickly. So for your battery to last longer, then the power consumption of the device should be very low. Okay, so these are the various important parameters which you consider when you decide a particular logic family for an application. Now let's say we define some voltage levels. So you see, this is the input, and this is, let's say, the voltage levels on the input side and the voltage levels on the output side. So the voltage is changing from 0 to 5 volts. So let's say 0 is streamed, let's say what we say is, like, there is some range between which if your voltage falls, then that voltage will be treated as logic low level. So in the input side, if that voltage is that voltage ranges from 0 to 0.8 volt, so then this is the range in which if your voltage falls, so if your voltage falls anywhere between 0 to 0.8 volts, then that voltage will be treated as logic low. Okay, so that is a very good thing. Okay, then similarly, if a particular logic family have this voltage levels, in that particular logic family, let's say there is some voltage above which whatever voltage will come, that will be treated as logic high. Okay, so if your voltage falls in this range, somewhere, anywhere in this range which you define, okay, so then it will be treated as logic high, okay, on the input side, whereas if it falls in this range, then it will be defined as logic low. But this, if the voltage falls in this range, okay, so then it is unacceptable, and this you cannot change, and it should transit to one of the region. Okay, either your voltage should be in this range, because you are using it as a switch, so either you should apply one, either you should on the switch, or you should off the switch. So if your input lies in this range, so the input is 0 to the switch, whereas if your voltage range is between this range, then you are making it on. Okay, whereas if in this range, so it is sort of a switch in middle position. So you see, you cannot predict that what will happen to the switch, because it will slip either in the on direction or either the off direction. So this voltage is basically what I mean to say. I have just tried to explain you with a simple analogy, but this voltage is unacceptable. Okay, so in between this range. And this various voltage levels are given some names. Okay, so this is VIH, so I for the input and H for the higher side. Okay, whereas this is VIL. VIL is input, I for the input side, and L for the low side, and this has certain range. So this is 0 volt, and this is ranged as VIL maximum. So the maximum input voltage, which can be treated as the low input. Okay, and then there is a voltage which is VIH minimum. So this is the minimum input voltage which will be treated as high. Okay, so this is how you define this voltage levels. So similarly on the output side you can define. So this voltage range, like in the input side, it is from 5 volts to 2 volts. So the voltage range is 3 volts. On the 3 volts, 5 minus 2 is 3. So VIH is equal to 3. But here it doesn't mean that if VIH is equal to 3, then the output VOH will also be equal to 3. It can be something else also. Similarly, VOL can also be it is not necessary that VOL will be equal to VIL. It can be different as well. Whereas the voltage levels are same. The voltage levels are the definitions for the particular things is same as what we have defined here. So if on the output side the voltage falls in this range, it will be treated as 0, whereas if it falls in this range, it will be treated as 1, whereas if it falls in this range, so this range is unacceptable. Okay, then there comes the noise margin. So to define the noise margin, what we do, we define the noise margin on the upper side, okay, and the lower side. So NMH or NNH, noise margin, N stands for noise margin, noise immunity. So if you calculate the noise margin, if you want to know the noise immunity of a circuit, then you find it as NNH, or NNH is VOH minimum minus VIH minimum. Or if you want to determine the noise margin on the lower side, they will be different. They may be equal, but they may be different as well. So that is defined as VIL maximum minus VOL maximum. So how you can understand it? So this is how you can understand it. Because if you suppose there are two inverters, so whatever voltage appears here, if let's suppose you apply 1 here and this is an inverter, so if you apply 1 here, logical 1, so this should be 0, okay, because it is an inverter. So if this is 0, then and there is a link between these two transistors from this circle to this circle. So if there is this link and this signal whatever appears here has to be transmitted to this the input of the next inverter. So in between this transition, whenever this the logical bit 0, because if input was 1, then this should be 0. So if this 0 gets transmitted over this link which is connecting the two inverters, so then what will happen? It may be affected by certain external noise, and therefore the its voltage level may change. Okay, so here also the whatever voltage is appearing, that should be a valid voltage. Okay, if this voltage is an invalid voltage, then this circuit will not operate properly. If this noise affects this voltage, you see, if let's suppose this voltage is 5 volt you have applied, okay, or you have applied, let's say, because it is in this range, so you applied somewhere 4.8. so corresponding to this the output can be in between 0 to 0.8 volts. So let's say the output corresponding to is 0.6 volts. So now you see, if this is 4.8 and corresponding to this it is generating 0.6 volts, so obviously this is 1 and this is 0, because it is lying in the upper high range and it's lying in the lower range. Okay, so you see this is 0.6. Now when this is 0.6, this 0.6 should, because this is on the output side, so this will become the input of the next inverter, and this inverter, let's say if I assume them to be same, then this is 0.6, so it is not necessary that that same 0.6 will reach here. It may be affected by some external noise, and because of that this 0.6 may increase or it may decrease. So if it increases, let's say it become 1.2, or in the other case it may decrease, so it may decrease to, let's say 0.6, say it will become 0.6, say it will become, let's say 0.4 or point something else. So you see, if it decreases, then if it falls in this input range, then it will be treated as low. But if it is above your VIL, in the previous slide we have seen, so if it goes above this range, because it is 1.2, so let's say in this case, so it will be above this range. So then this voltage will not be considered as the valid input for this. Okay, so this will not give you the proper voltage, proper signal, proper transmission. So your input should fall in proper range. So that is why your noise margin you determine this way. Okay, so this is what the logic is. So you can easily understand that this is your noise margin. So this was your V, this is output and this is input. So this is VOH minimum and this is VIH minimum. Okay, so VIH higher side minimum and VIH minimum. So if you want to determine VNH, so this should be the difference of these two. Okay, so this voltage whatever appearing here on the output of the second transistor and whatever appears on the input of the second transistor, they should fall in this range only. If they fall outside of this range, then the transistor will not operate properly. Similarly, you define the noise margin, so this is the difference of these two voltage levels, and the logic is same. Okay, so this is how you define the noise margin, right? Now let's move on to the another thing. So this we have already studied, VOH, VOL. So these are the current parameters, voltage levels and the current parameters. So current, VOH, IIH, IOL and IIL. Okay, or what are these currents? So IOH is the current flowing into an output in the logic 1 state. Okay, so current flowing into an output. So if the current is flowing into the output, okay, into an output in the logical 1 state under specified load conditions. So if some current is flowing inside the load, okay, when the load is 1 in the logical 1 state, okay, when the output of this transistor is in the logical 1 state under certain specified load conditions, so then it is called IOH. Whereas IOL is the current flowing into an output load when the logic is 0. Okay, similarly IIH is the current flowing into an input. Okay, so IIH is the current flowing into an input. IOL or IOH is the current flowing into the output. Okay, so this is again IIH is the current flowing into the input when a specified high level is applied to that input. Okay, similarly that is 1 is applied to that input. Similarly IIL is the current flowing into an input when a specified low level is applied to that input. Okay, so this is what you can define. So this current parameters are important because if you do not apply proper current, then the circuit may burn out. So the voltage levels and the current levels becomes important because of this reason. So then fan out, we have already discussed that what is fan out. So fan out you define as, fan out is the minimum of you define it as IOH upon IIH. So IOH, that is YUC, isn't it? So fan out, to determine the fan out you need these parameters, current parameters. So this current parameters, whatever you have determined, if you take the ratio of this two, IOH upon IIH, output output current when the output is high, so whatever current is coming into the output when the output is high, and whatever current is going into the input when the input is high. So that ratio and the other ratio is IOL upon IIL. So the minimum of this two is called your fan out. So the worst case scenario we are taking. So worst case scenario is the scenario which is like most undesirable. So worst case scenario. So that will harm maximum, that will produce the maximum harm. So that is called the worst case scenario. So whenever we design something and we have to define some parameters, so that that should be defined considering the worst case scenarios. Okay, so worst case scenario is this. So whatever is the minimum of this two will be considered as your fan out, DC fan out of the circuit. Okay, so this is how you define the maximum number of standard logic inputs. Standard logic means same type of whatever gate you are using, so similar gates. Okay, so how many similar gates you can connect to the input of a gate. So that is output of that gate. So that is called the fan out of that circuit, and it defines the driving capability of that particular circuit. It is also called as the loading factor of the circuit. Then the other terminology is like the propagation delay. So how you define the propagation delay? I have told you that it is the average propagation delay of the rise time and the fall time. So you see the waveform, when you apply some input, if it is an practical wave, then it will have some rise time and the fall time. So what will happen? The circuit will, like during this region, the circuit will not operate. The output will start to change after this transition takes place completely. So whenever there is a transition, so we take the 50% value of the input level to the 50% of the output level. So that duration in which the output is like input changes to the 50% and the time elapsed when the output also changes to the 50%. So that duration is called your tau PHL. Okay, propagation delay when output is changing from high to low. So tau is propagation delay, small t is propagation delay, T stands for TP is propagation delay when the output is transiting from high to low. Similarly, this shows that it is the transition time or the propagation delay when the output is transiting from low to high. So the average of these two is called your propagation delay, the total propagation delay. That is why I have already told you earlier that we should consider the rise time as well as the fall time of the waveform. So this 50% duration on both the waveforms, on both the rising edge and the falling edge, is defined as your propagation delay of the circuit. So this is what you define propagation delay. Okay, then let's see. So this is where now let's come to so these were the definitions, important definitions. Now let us move to the various logic families. So first we will understand, I'll not go into very much detail, but I'll explain you the logic of this logic families. So how we can realize a basic any gate with the help of a certain logic family. So we will discuss that. So let's say we have an RTL logic family and we want to realize a certain gate. So how to do it? So let's say we want to realize using RTL some gates. So the very first gate which we want to realize using the RTL logic is our NOR gate. So if we connect the two transistors along with some resistances in this way, okay, so this is the circuit, and if we apply, because this is let's say we want to verify a two input NOR gate, so there are two transistors which we have to use. Along with this we are using two resistors. So the circuit is connected in such a way that the two transistors the collectors of the two transistors are shorted together and one output is taken from there, whereas the emitters are also shorted and they are commonly grounded. Okay, the collector is again connected to some resistance and that is connected to the supply voltage. Okay, so this is how your circuit looks like. So what happens is, in this circuit, if you make both the inputs 0 0, so in case when both the inputs are 0 0, so as you know, this transistors, this is our NPN transistor and this is also an NPN transistor. So this we are using two NPN transistors here. So for this, each of this NPN transistor, so what will happen for this NPN transistors, so for our NPN transistors, what we know is, if we connect them, if these inputs become 0 0, then these are current driven circuits. Okay, so the transistors are current driven. So the input current, if both of them are 0 0, then the input current will be so low that because this voltage, if you apply, and this is ground, so if it is low, then this voltage is not sufficient to drive this VBE voltage. Okay, so this should be above this. This voltage should be greater than VBE to operate this Q1. Okay, base to emitter of this Q1. So and similarly for this. So if this inputs you are applying 0 0, so this means that it is less than VBE of both of this. So this transistors Q1 and Q2 both are off in this case. If both of them are off, then you see what will happen. The output gets like the output. There is no there is no current which flows from the VCC. Okay, so no current flows through the VCC. So this is an open circuit. So if this is an open circuit, so whatever voltage is there is here on the VCC gets available on the output terminal. So this terminal. So if this both of them are 0 0, so this output Z is equal to 1. Okay, because this is available, Y is available. This VCC is available here. Whereas if any of this input is 1, then whichever input is 1, then that particular transistor, or either both of the inputs are 1, and what happens, whichever transistor, if they say this is 1 0, so for this particular case, this transistor is on and this transistor is off. Okay, so this transistor if gets on, then your current flows through, because this is this VCE, okay, collector to emitter voltage is very small, and this voltage drop is almost looks like a short circuit. So then this VCE will be very small and the current flows through this path. So here the voltage available will be equal to just VCE, which is somewhere near to 0.2 volts, and that is why this voltage will be very low, and this is called as off. So the output will be 0 in this case. So when any of the input or both the inputs are 0 0, so either this or both of these transistors are on and the voltage available at this terminal will be 0. Okay, which will be equal to actually VCE, and VCE is very small, so that is why this will be 0. So this is how your transistor, this particular circuit works, and you can verify from this truth table that when both the inputs are 0 0, then your output is 1. When either of the input is 1, then the output is 0. So this circuit verifies the truth table of a NOR gate. So that is why we call that with the help of the RTL logics, it is very simple to design your the NOR gate. So this is the very basic design of your NOR gate. So in the RTL logic, the NOR gate is the basic building block. Okay, so this is how you realize a NOR gate in the RTL logic family. Now the working principle we have already understood, and this particular has the fan out, this particular logic family from its data sheet if you will find. So the logic family have the fan out of 5. Okay, the propagation delay is approximately 25 nanoseconds. Power dissipation is 12 milliwatts. So we have not derived these things. We do not derive these things. We find it by its during the design only it is decided. Okay, so depending upon how much voltage specifications and voltage levels you are using, voltage levels, specification, transistor levels, and the resistances which you are using. So overall the power dissipation of this is 12 milliwatt, and the noise margin for the low signal is 0.4 volt. So it have not very good noise margin, but still it offers some noise margin. And the other disadvantage, one of the disadvantage of this particular logic family, RTL logic family, is because of the resistances, it offers very low speed and the power dissipation is also very high. Okay, and the propagation delay is also, because RC time constant will be very high, so that is why the propagation delay is also very large. Fan out driving capability is also not very good. Okay, so these are the various properties of, you can see, characteristics of your RTL logic family. Okay, then let us move to the same RTL logic family, but now we will try to realize the NAND gate within this logic family. So how to realize a NAND gate in this logic family? To realize a NAND gate in this logic family, what we do is we connect the two transistors T1 and T2. In the earlier case we have connected them in parallel, here we connect them in series. So what we do is we connect them in this fashion, and after connecting this transistors in this fashion T1 and T2, we connect them with the help of certain two resistors. And here with the help of this truth table, you can verify that the circuit operates as a NAND gate. So how we can do this? Let's say when both the inputs are 0 0. So when both the inputs are 0 0, in that case, so here in this circuit we can see that when any of the input is, like, both the inputs are 0 0, so in that case these two transistors are off, and if these two transistors are off, then VCC is directly is available at the output terminal. So this is how we do the arrangement, and this is when both of them are 0 0, both the inputs are 0 0, the output is 1. When either of the input is 1, okay, then what happens? That particular transistor, okay, when either of the input is 0, I should say, when either of the input is 0, because these two transistors are in series, so when either of the input is 0, so either this transistor is off or either this transistor is off. So whenever one transistor is off in a series connection, so that path will not be completed from VCC to ground, and this path remains open because either both the transistors are off or either one of the transistor is off. So in such a case, where there is no path from VCC to ground, and therefore this path remains open, and this voltage VCC is directly available at this terminal, and therefore the output in any of these cases, when any of the input is 0, then the output will be 1. Whereas in the case when both the inputs are 1 1, then only in that case these two transistors will be on. Okay, and if these two transistors are on, then this path will be complete, and there will be very small voltage which is available here. Okay, VCE is equal to this VCE of this transistor and VCE of this transistor. So it will be will be very small, it will not be very large, and therefore this voltage is treated as low voltage. So when both the inputs are 1, the output will be 0. Okay, so you can understand this particular thing in this way. Now the advantages and disadvantages of this circuit, we saw that this particular circuit, okay, RTL logic family, these are the characteristics which we have seen. So the advantages and disadvantages are this involves a minimum number of transistors. Okay, so because of which this circuit have like what, these circuits were available before your integrated circuits were available. Okay, so you can see that the number of transistors involved, because this logic family was useful when there were like the transistors were invented. So before the invention of the transistors, this logic families were available. So it involves a minimum number of transistors. So this is an important consideration, because integrated circuit technology as a transistors were the most expensive component to produce was the very expensive technology at that time. So that is why if it uses minimum number of transistors, so then it will not be too expensive. So this is the disadvantage of this logic family. Apart from this, some modifications, as I have told you in the very first slide. So DCTL is more economical compared to the RTL logic family. Okay, what is DCTL? You can study from the book, but I have just given you the brief introduction of this RTL logic family, how it works. Okay, these are the advantages, and this is what it is. So the disadvantages of this logic family is it is bulky, okay, low speed, we have already discussed it, limited fan out, poor noise margin, and this is the the power dissipation is also very high. Okay, so you can read this disadvantages of this logic family from the book also, but we should understand the functionality and the working of this logic family. Some of the reasons of these advantages and disadvantages are very obvious, but some we have to find it out in deeply. Okay, so this some very common one which can be easily understood by logic, I have already explained you in the previous slide. Now let us move to the another logic family, which is DTL, diode transistor logic family. In this diode transistor logic family, if you understand, so to realize the basic gate with the help of this diode transistor logic family, we connect the circuit in this way. So our diode transistor logic basically gives you the NAND logic. Okay, so the basic logic with the DTL is NAND logic. So how the circuit operates in this case? The circuit we connect in such a way that there are two inputs. So there are two input gate. So the basic gate is the NAND gate. So we realize a basic two input NAND gate using this DTL logic. So we use a one transistor, some resistors and some diodes. So these are the two inputs, and these diodes are connected in such a way that when these inputs are applied, then this should be, if this input is low, then only this diodes get forward bias. Otherwise, if this input is high, then this diodes will get reverse bias. So what happens is, if we if we apply 0 to both the inputs, then in that case these two transistors will be on. Okay, these two diodes will be on, and there will be a very low resistance path from V plus to either A through D1 or either B through D2. So this transistors will be this path will be, there will be current in this path, and this transistor will be off. And if this transistor is off, then whatever voltage is available, that will be available at this terminal. So this is 1. Okay, so Q is equal to, you can say that if both the inputs are 1 1 0 0, so the output is in this case it is 1. So it is equal to your NAND gate. Okay, so both the inputs are 0, so the output is high. So this is a NAND gate. So any of the input is if low, so that particular this transistor will be off in either of this case when either of this input is low, because this diode will short this V plus through this either either D1, okay, at A, or through D2 at B, or through both D1 and D2. So then what happens? These two transistors, either of them will switch off this transistor Q1, and it will not operate. It will be off. So Q will be high in each of these cases. So you see Q is high. Okay, so this is like this. When both of the inputs are 1, A and B, both the inputs are 1 1, then only in that case what happens? These two transistors will be on these two diodes will be on simultaneously. And if these two diodes are on simultaneously, okay, if these two inputs are 1 1, so then both these diodes will be off, because the voltage available here will be less compared to the voltage available here, because this voltage is coming after a certain drop, because now some voltage will be there, and this voltage will now is equal to the voltage drop across this transistor and the voltage across this VCE, okay, Q2, VBE of Q2. So the total voltage here will be greater than that, and because of this transistor will be on, and once this transistor is on, then your Q will be, if this transistor is on, then there will be a small resistance path from V plus to ground, and because of that this circuit will be this Q1, the output at this Q will be 0, okay, will be low. So because this will be this VCE voltage. So that is why you can say that when both the inputs are 1 1, the output will be 0. Okay, so this truth table is verified, and this truth table is of your NAND gate. So you can say that this particular circuit gives you with the help of this circuit you realize as a DTL gate. Okay, DTL NAND gate. So simple explanation was this. Okay, and this is available in the IC starting from the series 53 or 73. So 53XX or 73XX is your DTL logic family. Okay, so the working principle I have already discussed you, that what is the working principles. If any input is low, what happens? If all the inputs are high, then what happens? Okay, so this already I have studied, I have explained. You can understand the working. Then the characteristics of this logic family is that it has a very high fan out, okay, not very high, moderate fan out, a fan out in the range of 8, okay, so lower than 10, but still better than the previous logic family, which was RTL. Okay, it has high noise immunity. The power dissipation is same as the previous logic family. Propagation delay is also like 30 nanoseconds, and the noise margin is better than the previous one, but still not very good. So it has the noise margin of 0.7. Then the advantages and the disadvantages of this logic family. This offers better noise margin than RTL. Okay, greater fanouts than RTL. Okay, it offers greater fanout than RTL. Then the disadvantages, the obvious disadvantages of this logic family is that RTL. The obvious disadvantage of RTL is its high power dissipation when the resistor is switched on. Okay, when the transistor is switched on. This logic family have low speed, and especially in comparison to TTL. So it have better speed than DTL, but poorer than the other logic families. Okay, so that is what the advantages and disadvantages are. So we'll move to this logic family, but we'll continue this from here in the next class. So I stop this today's class here itself. Thank you for listening. Thank you.